to make some of the building code changes and to further move renewable energy into building codes, first of all, but then also into this whole idea of disaster recovery, disaster response and recovery. Any initiatives?
Let's see. Let's start with the codes. I mean, that's just actually a separate piece of work that DOE is heavily involved in energy codes and energy efficiency codes and the development of those through ASHRAE as the primary code body, standard body that we work with. And so the current energy codes for commercial buildings is what's called ASHRAE Standard 90.1, and that dictates how efficient your air conditioning has to be, how many lights, or what watts of lights that are allowed, and how much insulation, those kinds of things. And so DOE's recognized that the codes haven't necessarily changed over the years, and so that there are people asking for more and better codes out there, and so they've tasked the ASHRAE 90.1 standards process to develop the next generation of energy code, which is 30% better than the current codes. And so that process is currently ongoing in the development of 90.1 to get to that 30% better. And so look for that in the next generation of ASHRAE 90.1. And so and that's a combination of ASHRAE and DOE work to get to that point. There's also what's called a high performance green building code that just got published last month, I believe, called ASHRAE Standard 189.1, and that's basically codifies the standard LEED the standard LEED points that most projects get. And so a city can now go in and develop a code to say our building code is a green building code, and it's written as code enforceable language, and so that's now available for municipalities, counties, cities, states to say we have a green building code, which is historically hasn't been available for cities such as Austin to say we have a LEED. Is it LEED silver requirement?
Buildings, yeah.
LEED's not written as a code enforceable language. I mean, it's difficult to require someone to get a LEED score because it's up to USGBC about what they give for LEED points, and so it's somewhat difficult to actually require that by law. Mm-hmm. And so this code was developed to allow that to happen. And so basically, it's about that level of LEED silver, but it's a prescriptive requirement for green buildings. And so that's been under development for the last few years, and now is available. So.
Yep. Of course, locally, we have the opportunity to influence that even more. Austin Energy has just gone through some major rewriting of our own building codes with the City of Austin to really position ourselves that we'll have our future building stock will be zero energy capable. And, we've spent a lot of time in that. We've long had a green building program of our own, and we, do a lot of work with our local construction companies and rate their homes, green building 1 through 5 stars. And so even if the federal codes don't change, municipalities can work locally to really influence what gets built in their region.
Last chance for any questions from the audience. If there's anything, be happy to entertain a question. Otherwise, we're close to the end of the hour. I'd like to thank Cheryl Mealy, who's the Chief Operating Officer for Austin Energy, for taking part, and Shanti Pless with the National Renewable Energy Laboratory for giving us this very informative briefing on renewable energy and the role that it can play in disaster response and immediate recovery and then long-term restoration. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. It's been a pleasure talking with you.